So hello everyone, I'm here with my buddy Chris and his 2008 BMW M3. This has definitely been a childhood favorite of mine. I remember seeing this car in video games and especially Gran Turismo and Forza as a kid, and just loving this car. And I think Chris feels the same way.
Feel the same way. You know, it's always been the M3 for me. When Need for Speed Most Wanted came out, it was the E46 GTR, and then, you know, as these other games came out, it was always the E92s. And I vividly remember a family trip down to Miami. A red E92 pulled up to my dad and I was like, "Oh my God, Dad, there's the V8 M3. It's like it's got a 4-liter aluminum V8."
Well, yeah, I mean, as you can see, I mean, it's an amazing power plant. So this is with the DCT, and this car also did come in a manual, but I feel like this car is better suited for the dual clutch transmission. I don't know if you feel the same way.
You know, I've actually never driven the 6-speed variant of this car, but I can't see myself really wanting for it.
Yeah.
It's my daily driver. This car is from Miami, so it's a city car. I get stuck in traffic every now and then, and the DCT just made perfect sense for me.
And I mean, for a 2008 car, I mean, it's extremely responsive. The last car that I drove with a dual clutch transmission was 2019 or 2020 AMG GTR Pro.
Oh, a little bit different.
a little bit different, but yeah. I mean, a dual clutch gearbox, and I mean, the responsiveness, I mean, from driving that and driving this, obviously that is faster, but this is very close in terms of responsiveness. I mean, a lot of times with these early gearboxes, really where you notice the issues is when you downshift. But with downshifting on this, I don't really notice any delay. I mean, it's a pretty responsive gearbox. We do have it in the power setting. Does that change the gearbox setting at all?
So the power setting actually doesn't change the gearbox at all. Really what it does is just remap the throttle to be much sharper, much quicker to respond. You know, sometimes I find that when I'm just driving around town, you know, stop and go, it's actually not good to have the power on, because if I put my foot down a little too quick, I look like I'm someone driving a stick for the first time. You know, jerk it because I put it down, take it off. But yeah, you know, the power mode, it's, I mean, instantaneous throttle response, as you can see.
I mean, it really does. You can really feel it. Now, so this is, you were telling me this is a pretty rare M3 because it does not have the nav and everything else.
It's what they call a single hump. It doesn't have the navigation or iDrive system, which I'm really happy about, because in the
more of an enthusiast type.
More of an enthusiast spec, and in the 2008 M3s, that first generation iDrive was absolutely horrible.
Yeah. Absolutely horrible.
So I knew if I was going to buy an 08, it had to be no nav. And, you know, I'm really happy I did so. And it's certainly an enthusiast spec. I guess it saves weight. This particular car also has a slick top, meaning no sunroof.
So this, did the 4-door, so the E90, did that come with the carbon roof? Could you get that as an
No,
or was that
you
only
actually
E92?
couldn't. Only the E92 came with a factory carbon roof. I have seen some people do conversions on the E90. One of my buddies down in Florida, he actually has the one-of-one Atlantis blue E90. he did a carbon roof conversion on it. I think
Wow.
from IND. It's not a cheap job. It's you know, it's not something that I want to do. I'm happy with the slick top as is.
Yeah.
You know, I like that it's factory that way. And,
so what's this color that you have on it? You were also saying that's a rare color
so
for this year.
it's a 1-year color. Only in 2008 you could get it on the E92s and the E90s. It's called Sparkling Graphite Metallic. I think the color code is A22. Could be wrong, but yeah, they made very few E90, E92s in this color, in this spec. I think for E90s in North America, they only made 225 in sparkling graphite metallic.
Wow.
Even
so
fewer with the slick top, even fewer with the DCT, and even fewer with no nav. So,
so this is a pretty rare car, especially in the spec with the color and the one hump, no iDrive system.
Exactly. It's probably, you know, one of a handful in this spec. I don't like to get too, you know, oh my car is 105, whatever. You know, I know it's a rare car. It works for me.
So
you know, I fell in love with the color. I thought I liked Space Gray, which came on the LCIs,
yes,
you know, the 09 Pluses.
That's a great color.
Until I saw this car in person, and I was like, wow.
So a lot of times I see videos on these cars, and people say that they're not very torquey, but I would almost disagree with that.
You know, they're not as bad as people think.
Yeah.
So, if you're coming from a turbo car like me, I had a 340i before this, and you actually reviewed that. You know, that had torque down at 1500 RPM. You're not going to get that in a naturally aspirated motor. But you have 90% of torque available. I think
handling, not to interrupt you, Chris, but the handling is fantastic.
I know.
I mean, it is. And this, what I like about this is hydraulic steering rack. I mean, it gives you a fantastic feeling in the curves. I mean, the car just is flat. What you said, you had H&R springs on this?
H&R race springs, that's the only upgrade. Once it comes time, I might do, Bilstein actually makes shocks that are supposed to match aftermarket springs. It's kind of like a build your own coilover kit. You know, I might go that route.
And it looks fantastic, I would say, with these BBS that you just got on this.
Yeah, I just put on some BBS CHs. You know, these wheels, you know, going back to Need for Speed, you know, I first fell in love with these wheels in Need for Speed Most Wanted. One of the bosses, I think his name was Sonny, had it on his Golf GTI, and I was like, I love those wheels. I don't know why I love these wheels.
It's only 7,000 RPM.
Yeah, I still got 1,500 to go.
Wow, that's I've driven a lot of turbocharged cars. I mean, turbocharged cars are great, but there's something about a naturally aspirated engine. I mean, and that's and it's a dying breed. I mean, this is fourth generation of the M3, and yeah, E46. Oh, the others were naturally aspirated, but I think this is the sweet spot. I mean, where can you get a naturally aspirated V8 sedan? You can fit 5 people in here comfortably, and have that amazing sound and an incredible power plant.
You know, the E39 M5 did a great job of that. It came in a 6-speed manual. Fantastic in that car.
Great car.
Fantastic car. I really, really, really want one, actually. But you know, it's not the same high-revving motor as the S65. The S65 is a different animal.
And so S65, that was very similar to the S85 that was in the E60.
Yeah, it's actually based off the S85 power plant, just pretty much 2 cylinders lobbed off.
I'm so jealous. I'm not a jealous person, but that's like, I would do that all day, every day, and get 15 miles to the gallon in this car.
It's extremely easy to get under that, yeah.
And what I really like about this, so you can change the gearbox settings as well, so you can make the responsiveness more crisp or a little more calmed down depending on your driving style. I see the traction light lighting up as we do these curves here. And what's really nice about this gearbox, I like the little kick that it gives you.
You know, it's nice. I'm conflicted. I've grown to like it because
I think it's awesome.
It is extremely fun. You know, you really feel like you're getting these proper hardcore shifts. The gearbox is bulletproof too. You know, it's a great gearbox. My favorite part about the gearbox are those amazing blips when you do those lower gear downshift. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's just insane. That is just insane.
Never gets old.
And so I've driven the F80 M3. A friend of mine used to have one with the M Performance exhaust. And a lot of people complain about the sound of the F80, but I think with the M Performance exhaust, that motor actually sounds really
Yeah,
really
you know,
good.
it actually sounds pretty good. One of the biggest determinations for choosing the E90 over the F80 for me was actually the sound, and also just the uniqueness of that naturally aspirated V8. But for the F80s, yeah, the sound is okay for me with the right exhaust. I know Active Auto Work makes equal length mid pipe, which totally transforms the sound of that car. That, in my opinion, is the way to go if you have an F80. But
so what did you put an X pipe on this?
No, so it actually has just test pipes on it, which is primary cat to lead. I still have my secondaries, still have my resonators and OEM muffler.
So you're still legal over here.
There's no check engine light warning me of emissions.
We're good as our gas light comes on.
But yeah, you know, this is a Florida car, so no inspections.
Yeah. So it works out. So you're I know that you hang around with a lot of M3 guys down there. So what kind of crazy builds have you seen? Do people just go all out?
Oh man, I've seen a little bit of everything. Like I said, one of my buddies, Miguel, he has that one-of-one Atlantis blue M3.
Wow.
It's a beautiful car. I mean, that color is just absolutely incredible. You know, he's one of the founding members of this little group called BMW Invasion, and we all get together. It's mostly, you know, E90X M3 guys. Some of them supercharged, some of them pretty stock.
Supercharged.
Oh yeah.
So what's a VF kit on that?
VF.
Yeah.
One of my buddies, Perry, he has a VF kit on his. Some other guys are running ESS, but down in Florida, also our local shop is Active Auto Work.
Oh wow. Okay.
They make you know, they make 3 stages of kit.
So you can see the lights come on when you get up to red line.
The shift lights,
Yeah. Wow.
It's amazing.
Sorry, I'm just addicted.
I lost my train of thought.
I'm addicted to the power plant. It's too enjoyable.
It really is. No, it never gets old.
Yeah,
I have absolutely no regrets for choosing this car over an F80.
I mean, I wouldn't either, and I think that as we get older, I mean, obviously we're seeing a lot more, obviously turbocharged vehicles, but hybrid and eventually electric. I mean, this is really a dying breed, and the thing with cars, I mean, this is kind of my philosophy is these cars deserve to be driven. They deserve to be put out there. They deserve to be enjoyed, because there's going to be a time when they're not going to be around anymore. And I mean, you really need to capture that every moment that you can get and really enjoy these vehicles.
That's the thing. I think when this car was in production up until 2013, maybe we didn't realize that.
Yeah.
This was the end of an era.
I would agree. I mean, even with the E60 M5. I mean, the V10 in a sedan. Okay, obviously those cars have their reliability issues, but
of course,
once they're sorted out, I mean, what other cars can you buy with the V10? LFA, Gallardo, Huracan.
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong on anything else. I mean,
what family car that goes 205 miles an hour stock You know, if you take the limiter off.
Even this, what's the top speed of this? 180, 190?
Hypothetically speaking, because of the high red line, because of the 7 gears, in theory it's about 211, but this car won't do that, obviously. I would say that this car could probably do about 190.
Yeah, I mean, that's just insane. That's totally insane. For essentially a family car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a crazy speed. Crazy number.
Crazy number.
And these are relatively affordable as well.
You know, when I bought this car about 1.5 years ago, yeah, I found that I got a pretty good deal. It was right in that price range that I wanted to be, and got it with low miles. I bought it with 41,000 miles.
Wow. So you've done some miles, 55,000 miles now?
Yeah, I've put on about 14,000 miles in 1.5 years. It's my daily driver.
Yeah,
my only car.
That's awesome. That's badass.
I'm happy it's my only car. Maintenance, you know, it used to linger in the back of my mind.
Yeah. So speaking on that, I mean, when you talk about these cars, you have to talk about the elephant in the room.
Of course.
And the rod bearings and the throttle actuators. I feel like those are the biggest issues with those cars.
Those are the 2 big ticket items for this car. Yeah.
So, as obviously, if you're a car enthusiast and you like these cars, you've heard of the horror stories of people blowing their engines, but I feel like that's a little bit more rare than it actually is.
You know,
correct me if I'm wrong.
You're correct. Somebody actually did some research and tried to go on all the forums and add up the actual number of cars whose engines have seized from a failure of rod bearings or main bearings. And, you know, once you do it out to the total production of E90X M3s, it's only about 1%.
Yeah. I was gonna say it was gonna be a very low percentage.
It's only about 1%. But, you know, the peace of mind, it's not, you know, an exaggeration that BMW built these engines with extremely tight tolerances on the OEM bearings.
Yeah.
You know, I had this was a California car. I had the rod bearings replaced at MRF Engineering. Fantastic shop, Malik's.
So you did have them replaced?
I had them replaced before I ever took delivery. Exactly. I wanted the peace of mind, and, you know, happy I did them.
Yeah. And so what about the actuators?
Throttle actuators I have not addressed yet.
Yeah.
Those are not something that you do preventatively.
Okay. And correct me, so those are plastic. Aren't there companies that do like aluminum conversion kits?
Yeah, there's a guy out in the UK, I believe, who will rebuild your actuators with metal gears.
Oh, very cool.
That's my plan if I ever. It's also, you know, half the price thereabouts of buying an OEM actuator. So
I almost feel like, you know, I've seen a lot of these cars for sale with pretty high miles, you know, 120,000, 130,000, and I feel like it's a pretty, for the most part, pretty bulletproof motor. I mean, it's pretty pretty usable.
You know, people might not associate the S65 with reliability, but I have to tell you, I have not had a single problem. Not a single check engine light, except for the cats when I deleted those before getting a tune.
We're not going to talk about that.
We're not going to talk about that. What cats? You know, this car has given me no problems since I've had it. I've kept up on the maintenance. You know, I do the oil changes every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. If you take care of the car, it'll take care of you. And
I would agree with that. I mean, that's I feel like there's a lot of people that I know. It's like, oil change? What's that? I haven't done my oil in 15,000 miles. I mean,
that is something that you do not want to let go, especially in these cars, because most people do drive them how they're meant to be driven.
Like that?
Like that.
Well, I think we've said enough. I think we've had enough fun for the day. Chris, I really like to thank you for letting me take your car out for the day. I mean, it's a fantastic car. I mean, one of my childhood favorites, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.